My name is Fodhla Cronin O'Reilly and I am a producer, and I produced the feature film called Lady Macbeth. How I got into producing, I started off actually in special effects. I was a trainee in special effects with a company called Team Effects in Ardmore Studios. I knew I wanted to get into film, but I didn't know I wanted to get into producing. So that was kind of my way in to get experience in the industry. And they were so kind to me, and they allowed me to shadow them on big films like The Wind That Shakes the Barley, TV shows like The Tudors. So I was able to get on-set experience, and they recommended I move to London and do a degree in film. Again, I didn't know that I wanted to go into producing. So I did that. I went to London, did my film degree. And somehow I fell into producing. I just was the person who seemed to take control of the productions. And then I figured out, yeah, okay, this is producing. And then after my degree, I started production managing corporate videos and virals. So I was getting loads of on-set experience, but I really wanted to figure out how to develop scripts, stories. So somebody recommended I apply to the NFTS. Out in Beaconsfield to do a master's in producing, and so I did. And I did 2 years there, and I learned how to create a story and how to work with writers and directors. And yeah, that's essentially how I went into producing. I had just come off producing a really successful short film by the name of Head Over Heels. That film was nominated for an Oscar, and it kind of opened up certain doors for me to move from short films to feature films. And at the time I was researching writers and directors, and I encountered William Oldroyd, the director of Lady Macbeth. I watched his 2-minute short film called Best, and I loved it. So I got in touch with Will. He and I met for a cup of tea. We chatted for about 3-4 hours. We ended up going seeing 12 Years a Slave together. So it felt like we were bonded for life from that very first meeting. But during that meeting, he had mentioned that he had just met a writer called Alice Birch, who is a terrific theatre writer. And Alice had the idea of adapting Nikolai Leskov's novella, Lady Macbeth of Matinsk, into a feature film. But she had written a 1-page prose that literally Will had handed to me in that meeting. I read it and I thought, geez, okay, wow, this is stunning. What a beautiful piece of writing. Read the novella, read Alice's work, and said, yeah, okay, great, let's do this. And so the three of us started developing the project together. And it kind of, in a way, it was just brilliant timing. And at the same time, while we were developing our treatment, iFeatures came about. And it was just an opportunity that came up, and we just couldn't resist applying, especially when iFeatures, their sort of motto is ambitious projects. And we thought there isn't anything more ambitious than a period drama on such a small budget. I mean, it's a female-led story, and it's Catherine, the protagonist in that story. She's quite, her single-mindedness really propels the story forward, and we just thought, you know what, this is such an exciting story, and it seems like it suits what iFeatures are looking for, so let's just apply and see how we get on. So the budget of the film was about £500,000. The financiers were the BFI, Creative England, BBC Films, and then there was a private financier that came in at the very last minute called Oldgart Media, and they were able to up our budget a bit, which we were incredibly grateful for, because making a period drama on such a small budget was a challenge. But how we achieved that was actually by containing everything. So within the script there's probably 20 locations, but we needed to find the one perfect location where we could shoot absolutely everything in that. And so we got in touch with Northern Film and Media, and they recommended an abandoned castle to us in County Durham. And it was just perfect. It was a blank canvas, and it was like having a studio for 10 weeks. So we did 6 weeks prep in the location and 4 weeks shoot. And we were able to dress it however we wanted, because it was absolutely blank. But the other challenge we found on the production was because Will Oldroyd, the director, he's from a theatre background. He's used to unpacking a story from the beginning to the end. And so he really wanted to shoot in chronological order. So again, that's, in order to achieve shooting in sequence, we needed again to find that one location, which Lambton Castle allowed us to do. So we did shoot in sequence. And that was the biggest challenge of the production. But for it being a period, obviously we had to do these amazing designs with the sets and the costumes. And I just thought, yeah, we need to bring on some really talented people here who had that experience, more experience than me or the director. So we approached the best in the business, hoping they would say yes. And we got a couple of no's along the way, but that was okay. But we really wanted to work with Holly Waddington, our costume designer. And Holly designed, or she assisted on films like Lincoln and War Horse. So she already had the period experience we really wanted to have. And Jacqueline Abrahams, the production designer, she had designed films like The Lobster, just big productions. And so because of their experience, they were able to take control of the budget and knew where to spend the money, where it mattered. And so, yeah, I mean, that's how we achieved that, really.